The St. Louis Dragons are 3-2, and it really feels like our team has turned a direction this year and looks like we could really contend for a playoff spot. Today we've got week 6 and 7 against the Tennessee Titans, and then at home for our second battle of the season against the Seattle Seahawks. It's definitely been an interesting start to the year. Our team has really lacked consistency. When one side of the ball plays well, the other one doesn't. Every game we've had either our offense play well or our defense play well, but not both. So far, we have alternated wins and losses, and we've alternated good performances from our offense and then our defense. Last episode, we split, losing to the Eagles in an offensive shootout while beating the Texans 16-6 on Monday Night Football. There was no points in that game until late in the first half. Hell, the Texans didn't score until after the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter. So as we look at our 5 games so far, the trend that I'm noticing is when our defense plays well, we're 3-0. And when our defense doesn't play well, we're 0-2. Whereas how our offense performs doesn't determine how we perform. So because of that, I would say more of our focus should be on the defensive side of the ball. If we make a move at the deadline, it should probably be on defense. However, I'm going to counter that because our offense has gotten ripped apart by injuries in the Texans game in particular. Not to mention, we have new practice injuries. Darnell Savage and Isaiah Likely will not play this week against the Titans. And then last week, we had DeAndre Swift and Jedrick Wills both dislocate their elbow, while Jedrick Wills' backup, Pea Puia Tatia, tore his pec, and he'll be done for the remainder of the year. At the end of the episode, I said we're going to make multiple roster moves. We're going to add a running back, and we're going to add an offensive lineman. Right now, our backfield is not good enough without DeAndre Swift, because without him in the game, we have struggled to run the ball. I get that Tornado Davis's numbers look good, 6.7 yards a carry, but if you take out his 75-yard run, his numbers look a whole lot worse. And although I like him, I don't trust him to be the lead back. And David Montgomery's barely averaging over 2 yards a carry. Part of that blame can also go to the offensive line. Through our first 5 games, we've already had 4 different combinations of starting offensive lines. So I'm going to look through the trade block and look through free agency to see what our options look like at both positions. In terms of running back, there's a lot of available choices, especially on the trade block. But even in free agency, too, there are some solid veterans who I think could be good additions. In terms of the offensive line, it's a lot more slim pickings, which is what I would expect, being that teams are not going to be willing to hand out good offensive linemen. Free agency is much of the same. You've got solid guys here like Josh Jones and Cody Ford, but not really anyone who moves the needle. The only really good offensive lineman currently on the block is Jake Matthews with the Falcons, and I took a look at him as a possible trade target for us, but I don't really think it's going to work. He does still play for the Falcons, and he is still valuable, not to mention Atlanta's a really good team, and he has 2 years left of a big contract. And he's 33 years old. He's been with the team his whole career. I think the Falcons just want to keep him in Atlanta, so I don't think it would make sense to really go out and trade for him. So I ended up doing some digging, and the name that I found, who I think would make a lot of sense, is Morgan Moses with the Patriots. He's only a 75 overall. I get that doesn't look great, but keep in mind, Jedrick Wills will be back in like 3 weeks, so we don't need to trade for some superstar. Moses has been really solid over the last 3 seasons, albeit he has missed 7 games with injury during that stretch. But he's been really good. The Patriots have a young offensive tackle in Demetric Armstrong behind him, who I think they would like to get playing time to, and I don't think they really view Moses as a valuable piece, especially because they haven't been that good of a team this year. I don't think it's going to cost too much to get him. Exchanging a 6th rounder into a 7th rounder I think is pretty fair. New England moves up in the draft for a guy who they don't view as a long-term piece, while we get a really solid offensive lineman who can start in place for Jedrick Wills. And even when Wills eventually comes back, we're going to need depth anyway because our offensive line cannot stay healthy. We're not done, though. We need to add another running back as well. And going through the block, there's some really good options at the top. Devon Achane, Zach Charbonnet, Fadiala Cisse, and Holland Cherry are all really good options, but I think they would all cost at least a 4th-round pick. I'd rather not give that up for a running back. So I'm willing to look a little bit farther down, and I think Darwin Juskins with the Packers would really work. He's only 22 years old. He's got a really well-rounded skill set. When he entered the draft back in year 1, I wanted to pick him, but the Packers ended up drafting him in the 4th round. He's been pretty solid with Green Bay since then, although he hasn't had that big of a role. because Aaron Jones is in town still. I think considering his draft slot, it would probably cost a little bit less than that 4th round pick that they used him on, but I don't think it's going to be nothing like Morgan Moses because he's 22 years old and he's a pretty solid player. So I was looking through our roster, and I do think there is a guy that the Packers would be interested in with Greedy Williams, who I think is a pretty solid player. I like the depth he's been able to provide us at corner the last few years. He's had a few big interceptions for us, but the fact of the matter is he is the 6th cornerback on the roster. With adding guys like Lucifer, Barber, and Stokes over the offseason, we just don't really need him. As for Green Bay, he'll compete to possibly play on the outside along with Jair Alexander. So we're going to trade Greedy Williams and a 6th round pick to the Packers to get Darwin Juskins. We had 3 6th rounders going into the day. Even though we just traded 2 of them, we still have 1 more in our back pocket. I think both guys we just traded for are going to be really good additions. Juskins in particular, I think he could actually be a long-term piece for us. At 22 years old, I think he's a really talented player, and I would not be surprised if he's our leading rusher over the next 6 weeks until DeAndre Swift is back. We're not done, though. We're going to make another move in free agency, adding Israel Abanikanda off of the Jets practice squad. He's only 22 years old. He's a super explosive, dynamic player. Another guy who I really liked coming out of college a couple years ago. And the Jets just haven't really found consistent playing time for him. So we're going to pick him up off of their practice squad. With those roster moves, we now have 2 players who we need to cut. And you may have noticed we got 2 running backs instead of 1, even though we only lost 1 running back with Swift getting hurt. The reason why we got 2 is because we'll be cutting David Montgomery. As a Lions fan, I love the guy. I hate to do this, but he's averaging 2.1 yards a carry. He looks kind of washed out there. I will say he does have 38 yards after contact. The offensive line hasn't really done him any favors, but his season high in yards per carry is 2.9. That's not going to cut it. I would rather go with the young guys in our backfield with Abanikanda, Juskins, and Tornado Davis. We signed him to a fully non-guaranteed contract in the offseason, so we're not going to lose any money. The second guy will be Pea Puia. We're going to put him on IR because of his torn pec. And there you go. We now have 53 guys on the roster. At the end of the episode, I said we were going to shuffle the deck, and I wasn't lying. We make multiple moves, adding Morgan Moses to the offensive line, along with 2 new running backs in Darwin Juskins and Israel Abanikanda. Hopefully the run game will be able to survive without DeAndre Swift, and hopefully the offensive line will be able to produce. I think our O-line is in a good spot right now. We have Tyron Smith and Ryan Jensen healthy for the first time since week 1, and once Jedrick Wills comes back, hopefully everybody else is actually going to stay healthy. So we have a breakout receiver. I haven't even talked about this yet. I'm expecting it to be Jamison Williams, and as you can see, it is. We need to get him 3 touchdowns or 150 yards from scrimmage to complete the challenge and move up to superstar development, which should be a challenge, but I suppose it is possible. I think Jamo's been a really positive addition to the team. His vertical presence in the offense has been very noticeable. Not only his ability to stretch the field for everybody else, but when he's gotten the ball in his hands, he has been a big play machine, and he has been probably our best receiver so far this year. He's already passed his yards total from last year, and he's nearly tripled his yards after catch. I think we've given him a much better opportunity with the ball in his hands than the Lions ever did, which is why I'm confident he's going to continue to succeed in our offense, whether or not he completes the breakout challenge. Let's take a look at our opponent, the 1-4 Tennessee Titans, who I do think are one of the more interesting teams in the league, because back in Season 1, they completely revamped their roster. They spent so much money in free agency, they drafted a rookie quarterback, and it hasn't resulted in wins. They were not a very good team last year, and this season, they're 1-4. They just got their first win of the year against the Rams. They have 4 one-score games this year and a blowout back in Week 2. So, of course, they are led by the second-year pro out of LSU, Otto Askew at the quarterback position. Obviously, him and Puma Whitlock are kind of linked together because they were the top 2 quarterbacks off the board back in the very first draft of the series, with Puma being drafted second and Otto going 4th. So far, Otto Askew's gotten off to a pretty slow start in his NFL career, but he has really started to play well over the last few games. And other than the Week 2 matchup against the Chargers, he's played pretty well this season, with arguably the best game of his career a week ago. Of course, they have Derrick Henry out of the backfield, and he's regressed a lot, but he's still super talented. And then a completely new-look receiving core with Amari Cooper, Hollywood Brown, Elijah Moore, and Gerald Everett at tight end. Defensively, they've got some familiar faces and some new faces, including Hassan Reddick, who they gave a big contract to after trading for a couple years ago. Of course, they have Christian Kennedy, the first-round cornerback out of Oregon. He is superstar X Factor. He was the top corner off the board ahead of Cam Lucifer. So let's hop into this matchup here in Nashville. The 3-2 St. Louis Dragons look to get their first win streak of the year as they face off against the struggling 1-4 Titans, who did just grab their first win of the year last week. We'll see if that can potentially be a turning point for them. This game is kind of fun because this is our first time back in Tennessee since Madden 23. Obviously, the Titans were my franchise team last year, so being back in this stadium does give some good memories. There aren't a lot of players from that team in Madden 23 still on this Titans roster. Obviously, we've got guys like Derrick Henry and Harold Landry who were big parts of those Titans franchise teams. But other than that, not a whole lot of guys who had a big role in that series. That shows how much things change in the NFL. Dragons start with the ball. It's Darwin Juskins on the first play of the game, rushing for 15. Welcome to the Dragons, youngster. I'm really excited about the addition of Juskins in the offense. I think he's going to prove to be a huge addition for us. 3rd and 2, empty backfield. Puma Whitlock has a wide open rushing lane. There he goes. Puma Whitlock down the field, slides at the 20. Royal Osuchua is a little bit banged up. Our new look offensive line lasts like 4 plays. Luckily, he won't go to the locker room and he'll be fine. But it is a little bit funny that our new offensive line couldn't even last a drive without somebody getting hurt. Play action here on 1st down. Puma rolls out to the right, on the run with a dime for Jameson Williams. That's a touchdown. Quick start for the Dragons, and they're on the board early here in Nashville. Jamo obviously needs the 3 touchdowns for his breakout challenge. He's already got 1 as he drags the feet inbounds. Here's the Titans offense, led by former national champion quarterback Otto Askew. It's a pitch for Henry to the right side, and he loses 5. It's Simeon Bonnet who brings him down. Bonnet's season has started off slow as a pass rusher. He didn't get his first sack of the year until last week, but he has been a menace in the run game. 3rd and 15. Otto is intercepted. Cam Lucifer II with the first interception of his NFL career. Cam Lucifer's issue coming out of college was his ball skills, and I will say on that play, he didn't really track the ball. He was at the right place at the right time, but still, I don't want to take anything away. That was a good play to catch the ball and grab the pick. 3rd and 7 off the interception. It's a short throw for Jamo, and he gets 6, wrapped up by Azeez Al-Shaair. The Dragons are a team who is always aggressive on 4th and short, but they're actually going to kick the field goal here from 43 yards out. And the reason is, since we're up 7-0, a field goal makes it a 2-score game. If the score was like 3-0 or something, we'd probably go for it, but we want the multi-possession lead as the field goal is good from Cameron Dicker, and it's now 10-0. Titans back with it at the 50, 2nd and 10. Otto Askew drops back to throw it. He's got a wide open man. It's Elijah Moore, one of the many new weapons on the offense, as he brings it to the 29. Other than Derrick Henry, the entire Titans offense pretty much is irrecognizable. They have changed so much since the start of this series. On 1st down, Otto goes deep and it's intercepted again. Jordan Whitehead picks it off at the 3-yard line, and Otto Askew appears to be hurt on the play. He's going to go to the locker room. So not only did the Titans turn the ball over, but their quarterback gets hurt. I was a little bit confused at first because it was a clean pocket, but as you can see after the interception, Trajan Blyshenden starts blocking him for really no reason, and Otto Askew appears to have hurt his right shoulder, a potentially significant injury for the Titans. On 3rd and 8, it's Darwin Juskins with the 1st down run. The Dragons didn't want to throw the ball, do anything crazy, so they choose to run it, and they actually get a 1st down out of it. Really good start to Darwin Juskins' Dragon career. Short throw here for Griffin Weaver with blocks down the field. He brings it to the 48-yard line, and that'll wrap up the first quarter. What a dominant start here for the Dragons on both sides of the ball. They lead 10-0. Puma hasn't missed any throws yet. The defense already has 2 interceptions. Puma's going to scramble with it here on 3rd down under pressure, and it's dropped by Jameson Williams. The first incompletion for Puma Whitlock all day as it's broken up by Amani Hooker. This time, the offense will stay on the field here on 4th and inches as Puma hands it off for Darwin Juskins, and he gets the 1st down, only gaining around 2. That's enough to move the chains as Darwin Juskins continues to be a really positive addition to the offense. From the 40-yard line, Puma Whitlock under pressure. He is sacked, by Yakuba Gaye, the second-year linebacker, brings him down off the blitz. That wasn't necessarily the offensive line's fault. That was more so a broken play right from the start. On third down, the Dragons again are going to be conservative, go for the screen with Juskins, but he actually gets a really solid play, gaining around 15 yards. Good job after the catch there by Juskins to make something out of nothing. And on fourth down, the offense is going to go for it again. It's going to be a handoff up the middle for Tenerido Davis II, and he barely gets it. In real time, I didn't think he did, but it looks like he did get the ball past the first down marker, and so the drive stays alive. 2nd and 9, play action. Puma Whitlock on the run with a strike into the hands of Michael Gallup, who brings it to the 15-yard line. The offense is just churning along down the field. They started the drive all the way at the 3-yard line. On first down, it's a short throw from the rookie, Arturo Modelo. He's in for a score. Boys and girls, it's Modelo time. Arturo Modelo with his 3rd touchdown of the year, and the Dragons add to the blowout, capping off a 15-play, 97-yard drive. And the Titans have a new quarterback leading them out. It's our good friend Malik Willis. So Otto Askew ended up dislocating his shoulder. Not a serious injury, but he will not return to the game. Malik Willis is now under center for the Titans. On 2nd down, he's intercepted. Another pick for the Dragons defense, this time by Jeff Okuda. Coming into this game, through the first 5 weeks of the year, the Dragons defense had only accumulated 3 interceptions. Here in the first half, they've got 3 more. Here's the offense back with it. Juskins completely misreads the hole on 3rd down. He only gets 2. That was a not-so-good play by Juskins, who had an easy first down if he just kept running upfield. And so the Dragons are going to have to go for it again. Here on 4th and 1. Puma Whitlock looks to throw it, scrambles to the right side. He's got Griffin Weaver open, and he makes the play to the 29-yard line. Good play there by the Dragons offense to keep the chains moving. 3rd and 5, under 2 to go in the half. Puma in the zone. It is incomplete as he looks to the sidelines for Gallup, and that'll bring out the field goal unit. 40-yard try for Cameron Dicker, the kicker, and it is good. Dicker missed an extra point last week, but is still perfect on field goals, and it's now 20-0. 30 seconds left for Malik Willis, and the Titans offense is on 3rd down. He goes up the middle, connects with Amari Cooper, who gets it to the 26. We have an interesting love-hate relationship with Malik Willis on this channel. His journey in our Titans franchise last year was certainly an interesting one. Field goal at the end of the first half is good, despite being nearly blocked by DeMore Diggins, as the Titans finally are on the board, but it has been all Dragons here in the first half. St. Louis leads it 20-3. We've been waiting for the day where the offense and defense in conjunction play well or play poorly. Thankfully, it's the former. It's been all Dragons as they lead it 20-3. Let's take a look at our halftime report. We will start in the ATL. Our division rival of Seattle Seahawks had the edge currently 14-7. In the NFC West, you need all the wins you can get because all 4 teams look legitimately good this year. Speaking of loaded divisions, let's check in on the AFC North. On Thursday night, it was all about the flock. The Ravens would edge their rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, 23-6 with 2 touchdowns from Ramondre Stevenson. Let's check in on the other 2 teams in the AFC North. The Bengals currently lead the Browns in an offensive shootout. The AFC North was one of the worst divisions in football last year with 3 really bad teams and the Baltimore Ravens. This year, it looks like we have 4 really good teams in the AFC North. I guess all the talent in the NFL this year is stacked in the NFC West and AFC North. As we move into the second half, we're probably going to be running the ball a lot with our lead, so that's what we've got to focus on. And then defensively, we've been phenomenal so far. The run defense has been great. We've forced 3 turnovers in the passing game. Since the Titans are trailing, I would definitely expect them to look to throw the ball often. And I'm really curious to see how Malik Willis plays. This could be an audition for him to be a starter elsewhere down the line as he goes short for Isaiah Thomas, who had 2,000 receiving yards a couple seasons ago as a senior at SMU, leading to him being drafted in the 2nd round a couple years ago by the Titans. From the 49-yard line now to hand off for King Henry, and he is smothered, losing 4. It's Simeon Bonnet who brings him down again, continuing to be a nuisance in the run game. 3rd and 13 now for Tennessee. Willis drops back to throw it, looking downfield, and it's broken up by Okuda. That was a great route by Isaiah Thomas. He was completely wide open, had so much separation, but the pass was underthrown. That's on Malik. He's got to make that throw. Dragons back with it, 3rd and 8. Here is Griffin Weaver, wide open. Good throw by Puma Whitlock as Weaver is hit hard at the 42. The offense appears to have picked up right where they left off from the first half. Puma rolls out here on 2nd and 5. He's got room. He's got a nice block from Keon, and he slides at the 16-yard line. Puma Whitlock's had a great game on the ground. I think he wants to run it more. He just hasn't really gotten the opportunity to because the offensive line has been bad. On 3rd and 1, short throw for Davis is broken up in the secondary. The Dragons are this close. They're going to go for it again. They've gone for it on 4th down a number of times today, and they've been successful each try. Short throw for Keon, and he does get the first down. It's actually going to be ruled as a run play, and he gains around 3. 3rd and goal now from the 4. It's been a long drive for the Dragons, looking to cap it off in the end zone, and they will! Puma Whitlock finds the hole, and he's in for a score. The Dragons add to their lead as it's now 27-3. Nice drive by St. Louis as the Titans have it down 24 with 30 to go in the 3rd. Here's Willis, looks downfield. It's caught by Derrick Henry with nobody in front of him. The King has entered his castle. It feels good to say that again, even though it's at the expense of our own team, as it's 27-9 off of the receiving touchdown by Derrick Henry. The Titans will now go for 2, and it is incomplete, broken up by Devin White. So it'll remain a 3-score game. As we enter the 4th quarter, the Dragons in prime position to finish it off here with a nice win, but they're not going to stop moving down the field as it's Arturo Modelo to the 40. Puma was under a ton of pressure making the throw. Overall, Puma hasn't been under much pressure, though, today. The offensive line has done a great job. RPO on 3rd and 14 for Gallup, and he gets a first down. The Dragons were just trying to get some short yardage there, potentially put themselves in 4-down territory, but hey, that works too. 3rd and 9 now. It's a run for Israel Abanikanda, and he gets lit up in the backfield, and so the Titans do get the stop. It's Desmond King who brings him down. Here's Cameron Dicker. His kick is up, and it is good right down the middle. He is now 3 of 3 on field goals, making it 30-9. The Titans looking to add some more points, playing for pride at this point as they trail 30-9. Here's Malik Willis up the middle with a strike into the hands of Elijah Moore. That'll go for a first down to the 34-yard line. The Titans would bring it all the way to the goal line. 2nd and goal. Willis running for his life, and he is in for a touchdown. Good drive here by Malik Willis and the Titans offense. They bring you within 2 scores. Now they're going to have to go for an onside kick. We saw some onside kick trickery a couple weeks ago as this one is quickly recovered by Tommy Tremble, who of course is getting the start at tight end today with no Isaiah Likely. So the Dragons are in position to finish the game off. It's a 4th and 4 to 7. They're going to go for it. They just want to get the first down and end it. Juskins gets the first down, but he's pushed in the end zone for a touchdown. The funny part is that Juskins wasn't even trying to score. Once he got the first down, he just tried to put himself on the ground to end the game, but he was pushed in by the Titans defenders. It'll help his stat line, I guess, and it'll help fantasy owners, so we're not complaining. That'll wrap it up as the Dragons get the win 37-16. By far our most complete performance of the year. Offense, defense, and special teams executing at the highest level. I get the Titans aren't a great team. They're 1-5, but a win's a win in the NFL. And we've got nothing to be ashamed of here. Obviously a great performance. Now I will say the Titans did play a lot better over the last quarter or so, and we only outgained them by 3 yards. But don't let that fool you. We were very clearly the better team from start to finish of this game. We started off hot. We may have let go of the gas pedal a little bit in the 4th quarter, but that's because we had such a big lead. Puma Whitlock was fantastic. He was super efficient, 78% completion percentage. He didn't have any bad throws. Everyone around him played well, but he was still very good. And then for the Titans, Otto Askew unfortunately getting injured. He threw the 2 early interceptions. Are we ever going to play any of these great young quarterbacks? First Callaghan October, then Otto Askew. I will point out, though, I thought Malik Willis had a good game. I thought he had some really impressive throws. He led some nice drives at the end. And I think this could be an audition for other teams who could be looking for quarterbacks with his contract being up at the end of the year. On the ground, I liked what I saw out of Darwin Juskins. I thought he had a pretty good debut. He was really good early and had a pretty strong game overall. Nobody else really stood out. Tornado Davis and Izzy Abanikanda were both kind of quiet, although Puma Whitlock had a nice day on the ground, and Derrick Henry was okay. He had a nice receiving touchdown. Our standouts receiving-wise was really nobody. It was sort of a collective effort. Jamison Williams didn't complete the breakout challenge, mainly because he was banged up in the second half, and everybody ate. The offensive line was absolutely phenomenal today. Where has this been? the first 5 weeks of the year. Puma had so much time to throw it, and he capitalized. Still too many tackles for loss for the opposing team, and still our pass rush was quiet. 0 sacks, although we did send quite a bit of pressure, and then obviously the 3 interceptions early were a big deal. Cam Lucifer in particular, I thought had a really solid game in coverage. J-Mo did not complete the breakout challenge, but I'm not too worried about it. It wasn't really his fault. It was more so that he was a little bit dinged up, and we didn't need to throw the ball a lot down the stretch. We do have a new injury. Unfortunately, it's Tyron Smith who tore his labrum. So that means we're going to have another new starting offensive line combination, our 6th of the year. And we are entering week 7. Not ideal. Here's a look at your scores around the league. All 3 NFC West teams won. We're not making up any ground in the division. As for your players of the week, Puma Whitlock, along with Justin Herbert, Danielle Hunter, and Joe Scobert. That's Puma Whitlock's 2nd career player of the week. He won one last year and now has one this year. So that'll bring us into our matchup with Seattle, and as you can see, the NFC West is so tight. Everybody's within 2 games of each other. The Niners are obviously very good. The Rams have really improved with Deshaun Watson, and Seattle is always a tough team. Whenever we play them, the game usually ends up being pretty exciting, our first time being no exception. Most of our games against Seattle end up being high scoring. That was more of a defensive, grinded out effort. Ended up being a really good game down to the wire. Obviously, we know the Seahawks pretty well at this point. Of course, they have Bryson Bowen, the second-year pro out of Memphis at quarterback, and they've got a great group of skill position players with Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. They have a new young secondary headlined by Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon, along with the 3 rookies they're starting. The question with the Seattle team is how they play up front in the trenches. They don't have an overly consistent offensive or defensive line, which that's also true about the Dragons, so we'll see which team can play better at the trenches, and I think whichever team does has a good shot of winning this interdivision battle. The Dragons have never swept a division opponent yet. We'll see if they can do it here with Seattle, as it's Darwin Juskins who fumbles it on the first play of the game, and luckily the Dragons are there to scoop it up. Darwin Juskins, of course, a local with the Seahawks, played his college ball at the University of Washington. Dubs down, Sco Ducks. 3rd and 4. Here's Puma Whitlock. Rolls out to the right with a 1st and more. Sliding at the 40. Big run for Puma Whitlock, evading the pressure, getting the 1st down with his legs. 2nd and 2, play action fake. Puma looks to throw it, and he is sacked. Uchenna Nwosu and Lance Sterlovich Jr. with half a sack each. That's the first career allowed sack by Royal Osuchua, who's back at left tackle. It took him over 6 games. On 3rd and 12, it's a screen from Modelo, and he nearly gets the 1st down, gaining 11. Wrapped up by fellow rookie Gunther Zimmerman, drafted in the 1st round out of Ohio State. The Dragons would decide to punt the ball, thinking it's a little too early to go for it, and now Seattle has it. Bowen connects on 3rd and inches with DK Metcalf. The Dragons were expecting some sort of short play, whether it was a run or a quick pass, but instead he goes downfield, and it catches the defense off guard. Big 1st down for DK Metcalf. 2nd and 8. Bowen looks to throw it. He goes short, this time for the slot receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba, another former Ohio State Buckeye who gets it to the 20. Seattle in the red zone looking to score first. Here is Bowen on 1st down, dumps it off for Metcalf, gets by a defender, and DK Metcalf brings it to the 1. A big drive for Bowen, the offense. He's 4 for 4 with nearly 60 yards already. 1st and goal. Can the Seahawks punch it in? It's Kenneth Walker III. And he is tackled in for a score. And the Seattle Seahawks are quickly on the board. They march down the field, score a touchdown. Good start for the Hawks as they lead 7-0. We'll see what the Dragons can do in response. 3rd and 6. Isaiah Likely up the middle with a 1st down. Good to have him back after missing last week, even though it didn't outcome the game too much. 3rd and 5. Puma Whitlock under a lot of pressure. Can't find anybody. He's going to eventually throw it away. And that'll wrap up the 1st quarter. Puma's 8 of 9 so far, but the Dragons' offense hasn't really moved the ball down the field too well. They're going to have to settle for a 53-yard field goal try from Dicker. It's up! Doink! Off the crossbar! No good! It had the distance. It looked like for a while it had the accuracy, but it's just missed as it goes off the crossbar, and it'll remain 7-0. So the Seahawks have a nice opportunity to really do some damage to this lead. Bowen under pressure from Bonnet as he connects with Noah Fant for a 1st down, who's banged up after the fact. The Seahawks now have it in the red zone. From the 13-yard line, 2nd and 2. Bouan sends it over to Kenneth Walker. Walker breaks the tackle from Saluni, and he is in for a touchdown. Last week, the Dragons dominated. This week, at least so far, they are getting dominated. Can this team ever be consistent on a week-to-week basis? Please, for the love of God. So the Dragons got to respond on this drive. As on first down, it's a short throw for Darwin Juskins. He's got blocks. Down the field, Juskins all the way into the red zone to the 18. Huge play after the catch for the rookie, Darwin Juskins. And now the Dragons offense is going to be in business after a huge conversion. 2nd and 8. Puma looks to throw it. He's going to look for the end zone. It's Isaiah Likely in for a touchdown. Likely with his, I believe, 5th receiving touchdown of the year. That leads the team. And the Dragons are on the board. The boys are hula hooping. I don't know what they're doing in the end zone. But it doesn't matter because the Dragons score, and it's now 14-7. Bouan on 3rd and 8. Under pressure, looks to run with it. And he does not get it. Gaining around 3. He's wrapped up by Damone Clark, who is playing in his first game since week 1, where he got hurt against, ironically, Seattle. 3rd and 5 for the offense. Puma Whitlock is intercepted! The rookie safety, Salamani Bali, picks it off, and the Seahawks are going to get it with great field position. Bali forced the fumble earlier on the first play of the game from Darwin Juskins as well. The 2nd-round draft pick out of the University of Alabama is making a lot of plays for Seattle. On first down, Bouan is sacked. Good start to the drive as it's Simeon Bonnet who brings him down, his 3rd sack of the year. 3rd and 19. Now the 2-minute warning for the Seahawks. Bouan looks to throw it. He's under some pressure. Rolls out to the right side. And he will eventually throw it away before nearly being sacked by Khalil Mack and Trajan Bleichenden. So the Seahawks are going to have to kick. It's the veteran Jason Myers from 42 yards out. Kick is up and good. And so the Seahawks are back ahead by 2 scores. It's now 17-7. Big drive for the offense. They've got to score before halftime, especially because the Seahawks start the second half with the ball. Puma Whitlock on first down is sacked for a loss of 10 by Lance Sturlovich Jr. 3rd and 9 now. Puma up the middle. It's Isaiah Likely who gets the first down to the 30. Got to keep moving quickly, though. 46 seconds. Still with all 3 timeouts. It's a 3rd and 10. Play action fake. Puma looking downfield. He misfires. Griffin Weaver was open, but Puma Whitlock's pass is off the money. He threw it a little bit too early there, and now the Seahawks get the ball. 3rd and 10. They're just going to run the clock out. Kenneth Walker gets it to the 28, and the Dragons call time. So now there's 9 seconds left. They're going to send it downfield, hoping they can get something going here. And it's Jamison Williams who gets by a defender. He's out of bounds with 2 seconds left at the 32. And now the Dragons can kick a field goal. Dicker missed one from 53 earlier. This one from 49 is up and good. So the big play there by Jamison Williams directly gives the Dragons 3 points. It looked like this was going to be a blowout, but instead the Dragons are only down by 7. Now there's one problem. On the last defensive drive of the first half, Simeon Bonnet broke his ribs. He'll obviously be out there the game and could miss multiple weeks. The Dragons defense coming into the game was fully healthy, but not for long anymore. Let's take a look at our halftime report around the rest of the league. We'll start the Thursday night game. The other 2 teams in the NFC West battling it out in Santa Clara. And it was the Rams who won a high-scoring thriller. Both of these teams now 5-2, tied for first place. In New Orleans, the Dolphins have the edge currently on the Saints. Callaghan October back in the lineup for New Orleans after tearing his labrum back in week 2. But the Dolphins still with the edge over New Orleans. And then in Green Bay, the Vikings have gotten off to a pretty slow start this year. And Green Bay's looking to keep that going. This touchdown from Jordan Love to Jaden Reed would give the Packers a 17-14 lead. So as we go into the second half, we've looked a little bit shaky, but we're only down by 7 and we're playing better. Obviously, we're probably going to be throwing the ball a lot since we're trailing. Puma hasn't been all that great in the short game. And then defensively, our pass defense has really struggled, and now our best pass rusher is out for the rest of the game. We're going to need the rest of the defensive line to step up in a major way. To start the second half, Bouan connects up the middle with Jackson Smith and Jigba for a big first down. It looks like that was Charles Cross hurt on the play, though, for Seattle. Now from the 47, Bouan looks to throw it, looking for the running back, Kenneth Walker. Clark nearly makes a play on the ball. Instead, Walker makes a big play after the catch to the 21. Now on the goal line, 3rd and goal from the 4. We'll see if Seattle can punch it in. Bwan goes short, and it's caught by Jackson Smith and Jigba for the touchdown. And the Seattle Seahawks lead it by 2 scores. It's now 24-10. So now the Dragons really got to respond. On first down, it's Tornado Davis smothered in the backfield for a loss of 3. And again, these negative plays continue to be an issue for the Dragons. And I feel like it's not really at the fault of these running backs, but more so the offensive line. 3rd and 8, nice throw. Keon wide open. I think the Dragons are really going to use Tykeem Keon more within the offense. Whenever he gets the ball, it's generally a big play. He's done really well as a blocker as well. On 3rd and 6, it's broken up. Keon the intended target there, speak of the devil. But Donnie Raptor, the second-year linebacker, breaks up the pass. Seattle has it back, a minute and a half to go in the 3rd. Wheel route for Walker, who catches it over Damone Clark, and he gets it to the 45-yard line. Big gain there for Seattle. Kenneth Walker having a big day statistically, although he hasn't been the most efficient as a runner. 2nd and 1, 30 seconds to go in the 3rd. Bwan up the middle. He fires, and it's hauled in by JSN once again. Jackson Smith and Jigba's having a big game. Tyler Lockett's been quiet, but the other skill position guys have been great for the Seahawks. On 2nd down, it's Damone Clark in the backfield with the sack on Bwan. It was a play-action pass, and he did not get fooled at all. 3rd and 12 now for Seattle. They're just going to run the ball here with Kenneth Walker, and he gets around 2 or 3, wrapped up quickly by Khalil Mack and Orlin Babylon. So that'll bring out the field goal team. Kick from Myers is up and good. And the Seahawks lead by 3 scores. It's now 27-10. Big drive here for the offense. If they want any chance of coming back in this game, they've got to score here. Puma Whitlock in the zone. He dumps it off for Tornado Davis, who makes a nice play, getting the first down. The Dragons are trying to get these ball carriers in possession to get yards after catch opportunities. Davis taking advantage. Here's Tornado Davis again, down the field with a huge run to the 26-yard line. Prior to that carry, Davis had 7 rushing attempts for 6 yards, but he finally breaks off a long one. 2nd and 10. Puma looks to throw it. He goes short for J-Mo. Jamison Williams evades tacklers and brings it to the 9, showing off his speed there once again. J-Mo continuing to be a major asset with the ball in his hands as it's now a 3rd and goal. 6.5 to play here in the 4th quarter. Handoff for Darwin Juskins. Tries to find the hole. Can he power in? Not quite. He brings it to the 1. And obviously the Dragons are going to go for it here. You're this close. You just got to punch that sucker in. 4th and goal from the 1. Puma under center. It's a QB sneak, and he does not get it! The Seahawks with the stop. Draymond Jones leads the way for Seattle, and they force the turnover on downs at the 1-yard line, and they get a first down a few plays later. It's Tyler Lockett who makes the play. With 3.5 minutes to go now, Seattle's in position to chew some clock, finish this thing off. 3rd and 5. Kenneth Walker does not get the first down. Nice tackle by Okuda as the Dragons' hopes and dreams of winning this game still hang on by a thread, but I suppose they are still very slightly alive, down by 17. On 2nd down, Puma tries to find the rushing lane. He's sacked by Uchenna Nwosu, and it's now a 3rd and 12. They only lost around 2 on that play. The Dragons going quickly. It's going to be a screen here, but it completely fails. Lance Sterlovich Jr. is there once again. Darwin Juskin ran into the lineman, and, well, that play failed as soon as that happened. 4th and 24. Dragons got to go for it. It's J-Mo wide open with the first down. Out of bounds at the 49. Big play by Jamison Williams on a 4th and very long. 3rd and 10 now. Puma Whitlock drops back to throw it. Downfield, it is dropped. Isaiah Likely had a hand on it, but Devin Bush sends him a big hit. And obviously the Dragons are going to have to go for it again here on 4th and 10. Puma looks short, and it's Michael Gallup with the first down. He got that ball out quickly, recognizing that area of the field would be wide open for Gallup to make a play. 3rd and 7, short throw. It's Jamison Williams out of bounds with a first down. Jamison Williams continuing to get yards after catch opportunities in the short passing game, and he's continuing to take advantage. There's Likely with his 2nd touchdown of the game, doing snow angels in the end zone as it's 27-17. The problem with that drive is that the Dragons used up nearly the entire clock. It's not really going to matter as Seattle gets the onside kick, and this game is basically over. The Seahawks are now in true clock mode because the Dragons still do have their timeouts, and they're still using them even though it's a 10-point game. Kenneth Walker gets the handoff here. He's actually going to take it all the way. I don't know why he just didn't send himself down. I guess he wanted to pad his stats, which he kind of needed to. He was averaging less than 4 yards a carry prior to that run. And now he has a 3-touchdown game to cap off a strong win for the Seattle Seahawks. 34-17, your final. This was probably our worst game of the year. I feel like the game wasn't as bad as the score suggests, though. The offense wasn't horrible. We just had trouble scoring when we got down the field, but we did move it. We outgained Seattle by 8 yards, and I feel like our defense wasn't horrific. We've had worse defensive performances this year, but that doesn't necessarily mean we were good on that side of the ball either, as Bryson Bowen did outplay Puma Whitlock today. Puma had some good throws, but he missed a lot of throws as the game went along. He was super efficient early. Then the interception happened, and I think that interception really ended up being one of the most important plays of the game because it really killed off some momentum we had. And then obviously Bryson Bowen played really well. He was efficient. He made big throws down the field. He was really impressive. Kenneth Walker put up some really good numbers on the ground, but I think our run defense was actually pretty good, especially considering our best run defender missed the second half with an injury. Our rushing attack, not so much. Isaiah Likely and Jamison Williams standing out in the receiving game. Likely scored twice. Jamo with nearly 100 yards. Rail Osachua allowed 2 sacks today. Is that the end of his Linsanity run, or is that just one bad game? Uchenna Nwosu and Lance Sturlovich Jr. were both really good for Seattle. Shout out to Moan Clark. I thought he had a really good first game back. And shout out Salamani Bali, the rookie, with an interception and a fumble force. So with that, we fall to 4-3, and we have another new injury on the table. And of course, that is the best player on our defense, Simeon Bonnet, who broke his ribs, and he will likely miss the next few weeks. Luckily, we have our bye week coming up, but he's probably going to miss a total of our next 3 games, which is unfortunate, especially considering we've got some interdivision matchups coming up. We've already played against Seattle twice, but we still have the Rams and Niners twice. Simeon Bonnet's obviously been a little disappointing as a pass rusher, but as a run defender, he's been great. Tackle for loss in every game. He's consistently in the backfield, and even with the low sack number, he still leads the team in sacks, and he still leads the team in pressures and QB hits and all those important numbers. Here's a look at your scores around the league here in Week 7. As for your players of the week, Mac Jones, Rock Ya-Sin, Dragons legend, L'Jarius Sneed, and Deshaun Watson. That'll bring us into Week 8, and as you can see, it's our bye week. It's the NFL trade deadline as well. We're in the last place in our division despite being 4-3, but we're only a game and a half ahead of first place. Our division is super competitive with 4 really good teams, and if we want any chance to make the playoffs in the NFC, we're probably going to have to make a move here at the deadline because I imagine the other teams in the NFC West are going to be aggressive buyers at the deadline as well. I hope everybody enjoyed today's episode. Let me know what you thought of our roster moves and the 2 games down below in the comments. Let me know what you think we should do during the trade deadline as well. Peace out.